if you describe an incendiary device and encourage somebody to use such a device, specifically for the purpose of the liberation of animals or the environment, you should face a mandatory 25-year prison sentence for giving that speech. And it's a real easy law to break. All you have to do is sing the chorus to this song, and you can face a 25-year sentence. And my guess is that when you get subpoenaed to the grand jury, they're not going to ask you, were you singing along? They're going to ask you, who else was in the room? So you can just point to all the, the media. I mean, everybody. But we're going to break the law in tune. So here's to Rodney and a heck of a lot of political prisoners out there, put in prison by both Democrats and Republicans. Rodney Coronado was arrested for a speech that he gave one evening by the San Diego beach. He stated his opinion. They sounded just like mine. Now they want to put him behind bars till 2029. Prosecutor said the problem was the speech. It showed intent. I couldn't figure out exactly what that meant. You can't describe an act and say you thought that it was swell. So what'll happen when we sing it? Who the heck can tell? But we don't like the condo and we're gonna burn it down. Corporate terrorists drive them out of town. We'll bring a lot of gasoline, pour it on the floor, light a match, say a prayer, and run right out the door, burn it down. Does anybody know their part? I say burn it down, then you say burn it down. Jeez. Okay, ready? Burn it down.
Burn it down.
Burn it down. We're going to burn it down. Burn it down.
Burn it down.
Burn it down.
Burn it down.
Burn it down. I didn't hear too many people singing, but that's okay. You're implicated anyway. You're here. Well, if you just sang that chorus, then you just broke the law to be an eco-terrorist. Now you just gotta flap your jaw. And who knows, by the time you have a chance to blink, whether you're a criminal might depend on what you think. But we don't like the bulldozer, we're gonna burn it down. Corporate terrorists drive them out of town. We'll bring a lot of gasoline, pour it on the floor, light a match, say a prayer, and run right out the door. Burn it down. Burn it down. We're going to burn it down. Burn it down. Burn it down. Burn it down. First it came for Rod, baby, next will come for you. Let me tell you what I think all of us should do. Sing the song with me, raise your fist and caterwaul. If we fight together, they can't arrest us all. Cause we don't like the Walmart and we're gonna burn it down. Corporate terrorists drive them out of town. We'll bring a lot of gasoline, pour it on the floor, light a match, say a prayer, and run right out the door. Burn it down.
Burn it down.
Burn it down.
Burn it down.
We're going to burn it down. Let me hear you. Burn it down.
Burn it down.
Burn it down.
Burn it down.
Burn it down. One more time. With feeling it. 20-part harmony. Burn it down.
Burn it down.
Burn it down.
Burn it down.
We're going to burn it down. Burn it down. Burn it down. Burn it down. Somebody's approaching the stage. Something is about to happen. Ladies and gentlemen, Defend Denver. The man with the best t-shirt here.
Thanks, appreciate it. All right, how's everybody doing this morning? I know it's early, but come on. How's everybody doing this morning? Everybody said you folks weren't going to be here this morning. That was a little different than me. Yeah. We heard the mayor say you guys weren't going to be here this morning. We heard some of the liberal groups say you weren't going to be here this morning. All right, what we're going to do is bring up Mark Cohen from R68. He was an activist from 1968. He's an activist today. He's going to say a few words for you. And then we have some incredible list of speakers. We're going to have a performance by Dead Prez. We're going to have a performance by Blue Scholars. And then we're going to march to that Pepsi Center and tell them enough of this fucking war. Let me bring Mark Cohen out, and we really want you to listen to some of these speakers because that's more important than the music and the good times that we have, because sharing of education is the most important thing we can do right now.
Good morning. Thank you all for coming out this morning It's really important for us to be here. My name is Mark Cohen. I'm one of the founders of R68, the group that put this event on. There are a lot of people involved in R68, a lot of people whose time and effort went into putting this thing on. I've been asked to speak for them because I've been up here before, and I mean literally up on these steps before. I was here 18 years ago trying to stop the first Gulf War before it started. I was back here in 2003 trying to stop Bush II before he committed an illegal and immoral invasion. I've been here every year since, while this occupation drags on now into its 6th year. And I tell you what, I'm getting tired of it. Enough is enough. I don't want to be here for the next invasion and the next occupation. But I'm here today because it's important to be here today, to tell the Democrats, enough is enough. Enough of war, enough of occupation. We began organizing over a year and a half ago to put this thing together when we knew that the DNC would be coming to Denver. And we made a commitment from the beginning that we would use the opportunity presented by the DNC to give a forum to voices beyond the usual suspects that you hear at these kinds of rallies. A forum for voices from oppressed communities. Voices that you're going to hear on these steps today. And I have to tell you, it has not been easy. The city of Denver seems to think about people like us the way people who live in cheap apartments in New York think about cockroaches. They were not happy for us to be here, but we're here. And some local peace activists have accused us of everything but sinking the Titanic. But we're still here. What's really depressing, some of you may be aware of this, some so-called national leaders of the so-called peace movement tried to get us to drop the idea of being here, tried to tell us that we shouldn't be here because this would be seen as an anti-Democrat rally and it would hurt Obama's chances. But we're here. That's what passes for an anti-war movement these days. People who think the best thing we can do to end the occupation is to elect a Democrat. And we're here to say, that's not going to do it. We don't need to hear that shit anymore. The Democrats, with a few honorable exceptions, voted to authorize the invasion of Iraq. The Democrats, including Mr. Obama, have voted for every single bill to fund this occupation.
We're not abominable!
The Democrats, including Mr. Obama, voted for the Patriot Act, the Military Commissions Act, the FISA Act, and every other assault by this administration on civil liberties. Electing the first non-white president in history would be significant. No question about that. But it's not enough. Mr. Obama is part of a system of imperialist domination. He will not challenge it. He will not change it. He and the Democrats just want to make it work better. They will not challenge it in any meaningful way. But people are still going to ask, isn't it important to elect the first African-American president? And we agree. And if you agree, stick around. Because you're going to hear from an African-American female candidate for president. An African-American female candidate for president who will challenge the system. So like I said, I'm up here for Recreate 68. A lot of people have been asking, why that name? Why Recreate 68? Well, I'm going to tell you. It's about the movements of the 60s. And the movements of the 60s understood one thing, that a choice between Democrats and Republicans is no choice. The lesser of two evils is still an evil.
Democrats, Republicans, same old shit.
If we ever had a democracy, we don't have one now. What we've got is government of the corporations, by the corporations, and for the corporations.
Fuck the corporations!
And the so-called movement leaders who tell us the way to bring about real change is to work within the system. Well, we had a saying in the 60s, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem.
Fuck the system!
Yeah!
So why Recreate 68? The people you hear from today, some of them leaders in the movements of the 60s, all of them still leaders now, they understand why. As members of oppressed communities, they understand that the American empire operates here at home as well as abroad. They understand that the empire doesn't just occupy Iraq and Afghanistan and military bases in hundreds of countries around the world. It occupies indigenous lands in this continent, including the very land we're standing on now. It occupies the inner cities, it occupies our minds, and divides us from each other, and that has to end. So why Recreate 68? At the U.S. Social Forum last year, the theme was, another world is possible, another U.S. is necessary. Another U.S. is necessary. And the way to bring it about is through mass grassroots movements, like those of the 60s that challenge the system. Through millions of people taking to the streets to reclaim our democracy, to say enough is enough. We can recreate massive political resistance to an exploitative and oppressive system. That's what we're asking you to do. When you leave here, or if you go to St. Paul, when you leave there, don't look for the next big event. The most radical thing you can do right now is go back to your community and build a movement at the grassroots to take back this country. It's time to recreate the spirit of mass political protest of the 60s. It's time to put an end to war, to occupation, to human rights abuses, and the continued incarceration of political prisoners. It's time to transform a corrupt, corporate-dominated political system. It's time to revive a slogan of the 60s, power to the people.
That was Mark Cohen.
All right. A couple of quick announcements. Some folks made a bunch of signs that they have on the sides of the stage. If you want one, feel free to come and pick one up. They have good messages on it. Some folks worked a while making them, so if you want a sign, grab a sign. In addition, security is being really respectful today, but we have some people up here that we need to provide security for in this country, unfortunately. So we ask that you please just be respectful back to them so we can keep this thing peaceful the way our communities are supposed to be. The next person I'd like to bring out really doesn't need an introduction anymore because of being such a powerful voice in the anti-war movement, somebody who this war has affected directly, somebody who's a true anti-war candidate. I'd like to bring out Cindy Sheehan.
Coming today. Hi. Oh, Camp Casey people. Yay. 3 years ago today, we were sweltering in Crawford, Texas, camping outside of George Bush's ranch. Now, 3 years later, our country is still mired in the Middle East. They're talking about more war, more Cold War, Russia, Georgia, invading Iran, Pakistan. They have taken away more of our freedoms. The Democratic Congress killed our Fourth Amendment before they went on break. They gave telecoms immunity to spy on us, George Bush immunity to spy on us without a warrant. And then this convention is sponsored by AT&T. Who do you think the parties represent? They don't represent us. If the parties represented us, you know what? There would be, Obama would be here today, right here. Pelosi would be here. Barbara Lee would be here. They would be here demanding our rights to peacefully protest, to peaceably gather, and to march and not be locked in cages or free speech zones. And I just want to say, and I've always said, we are not animals. They are not the bosses, we are the bosses. We, the people of America, are the sovereign ones. And instead, the Democratic Party has partnered with the city of Denver in this police state, this fascist police state. And I don't want anybody to get hurt, but I want you to stand up for your rights to be heard. For your rights, for the voice of the people to be heard. They don't, like I just said, they don't listen to the people. Corporate interests and people interests are the same. And people always ask me, what do you think's going to happen in November with the presidency? Well, one of the corporate candidates is going to win. But I support my sister Cynthia McKinney, who's coming up here. And I support Ralph Nader's right to be heard, and Cynthia's right to be heard. They should be included in the presidential debates. And I challenge my opponent, Nancy Pelosi, the queen of the corporate system, to debate me in San Francisco. And also include the Republican and include the Libertarian, because the people of San Francisco have the right to hear our voices and our policies. And Nancy Pelosi must defend her positions and her votes and what she's done as Speaker of the House, and not just defend them in sound bites or talking points, but really defend what she's done to our country and the world since she has partnered with the Bush regime. And what about impeachment? Before she became Speaker of the House, she said that parts of our Constitution were off the table, and not only has she taken those things off the table, but she, like I said, has participated in the abuses of the executive branch with George Bush. If we want to end militarism, if we want to end imperialism, if we want to bring things like single-payer health care, free education for everybody, not just the elite being able to afford education. We need to clean up the environment. We need economic equality. These parties have partnered to destroy the middle and working classes by destroying unions and by sending our jobs overseas. Well, we need to bring those back home, and we need to bring our troops back from all foreign occupations. Torture as a policy, and the two corporate parties are not doing that. But if we, the people, abdicate our responsibilities, no true change is going to happen. And we know it's not going to happen with either one of the corporate parties. So we need to support candidates like peace candidates like me and Cynthia and Ralph, and other people around the country are running as peace candidates, and we need to make sure our voices are heard. Don't let them shut us up. Over the past 8 years, they've wanted to shut us up, and they won't shut me up. And somebody said, Cindy, you have an aggressive platform. How are you going to be able to do it? I can't do it. I can't do it by myself. I need your help. I need the people of this country to reassert our sovereignty, take back our Constitution, and demand, excuse me, demand that our leaders work for peace. Thank you. CindyForCongress.org. Thank you.
All right. So, we keep getting a couple of questions from the media because they wanted to know if there was going to be free love in the park. So, I'm already seeing a lot of free love right here because whether you know it or not, you're all having sex right now because the Democrats and the Republicans are screwing you, and they're screwing you right now. And we know the elephants in the asses are screwing the masses, and we're here to say no more about that. So, actually that's not free love because we're paying for that with our taxes too. So, you know, but I'm really happy to see everybody here because, like I said, people said Cindy Sheehan wasn't coming today. Well, apparently that was wrong. Rocky Mountain News said Public Enemy's not coming. Wednesday night, free show at Boulder Theater, they're coming. You know, people said Cynthia McKinney wouldn't be here. She's here.
How about Ron Kovic?
People said you wouldn't be here.
How about Ron Kovic?
People said Ron Kovic wouldn't be here. He's here, and he's coming. Pie Man, one of the original Yippies, right down there joining us. People said you wouldn't be here, but you know what? You said no. Because revolution starts with one word. That word's no. You know, we say no to poverty. We say no to this type of world that these two parties are creating. And right now we're saying no to illegal occupations. And we need to be aware of the fact that there's more than just one illegal occupation going on right now that this country's involved with. So our next speaker is from Palestine, and we'd like to bring up Ida Auda to talk about the illegal occupation in her homeland. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. In a few days, Senator Barack Obama will officially become the Democratic Party's presidential candidate. Months ago, he gave a really remarkable speech on race relations and the State of the Union. It was one of the more thoughtful political speeches I can recall hearing in a long time. It was so right on everything that mattered that I was willing to overlook his coupling of terrorism with something called radical Islam, a term that is often used to camouflage bigotry and to delegitimize opposition to colonialism. One of the more refreshing things he said in that speech was that in this election, we would talk about the things that don't generally get discussed. I think that's an excellent idea, and that's what I want to do here. One thing that has not been mentioned in this election season is U.S. support for Israel's imposition of a medieval-type siege and economic blockade of the Gaza Strip, home to 1.5 million Palestinians. Israel has pretty much sealed the territory so that few people can enter or exit. Israel controls the amount of food that reaches the territory. It prevents medicines from entering, and it controls the amount of fuel that reach it. As a result, hospitals cannot function. At least 237 patients have been documented who have needed to leave the Strip for specialized medical treatment that they cannot get in the Gaza Strip. They've been denied permission to leave, and they have subsequently died. The rate of malnutrition has skyrocketed. At least 80% of the people are dependent on aid just to meet their daily food requirements. Collective punishment inflicted on civilians is a war crime. In the last few days, a group of 46 human rights activists assembled in Greece and Cyprus and set sail for the Gaza Strip. Their purpose was to break the siege. They reasoned that if Israel withdrew from the Gaza Strip, yet refused to allow normal traffic into and out of the Strip through air and land routes, it could not credibly claim that it had ended the occupation of the Gaza Strip. They would try to enter by the sea, and they did, reaching their destination yesterday. Now, there are a few reasons that this successful effort to break the siege is worth taking note of. It is inspiring because it is a creative way of calling attention to a criminal situation. It shows what can be done if there is a will. The activists could not carry much in 2 small boats, but they carried about 200 hearing aids for children. They received a request for 9,000. But were only able to secure 200. Why do so many Gaza children need hearing aids? Presumably it has something to do with the fact that Israel routinely breaks the sound barrier at night, a terrifying sound that guarantees that no one sleeps through the night. These nightly raids are not reported by our media either. The activists on board the 2 ships, and particularly the American ones, understand that American taxpayers have no real interest in financing Israeli strangulation measures. Jeff Halper put it succinctly in an interview on Democracy Now! 2 days ago. He said this occupation is the epicenter of instability in the Middle East, and it is absolutely counterproductive to American interests. He might have added another argument. We understand that such measures will ultimately prove futile. No country, no government has yet succeeded in convincing a nation that it must accept oppression as its fate. Now, one would expect that Senator Obama probably understands this at some level, but he seems to be a pragmatist who is comfortable heeding the voices of powerful lobbies who will insist that Israel remain above the law. His selection of Joseph Biden as his running mate confirms this impression, all of which means that he will need constant, insistent, and hard-to-ignore reminders. That's where all of us come in. If Senator Obama should become the next U.S. president, we must demand that he use aid as a leverage to bring such illegal practices to an end. Closer to home, other crimes take place that pass unnoticed. In this country, there are many men, naturalized citizens of Arab origin, who are languishing in prison. And no matter what the government tells you, and the splash with the government announces their arrests, painting them as the most dangerous criminals of the 21st century, their real crime is that they identify as Muslims and they don't much care for what Israel is doing to Palestinians. Such identities and political beliefs have become criminalized. For this sorry state of affairs, we can credit the Patriot Act, and for the lack of public outrage, we can credit the corporate media, which does not bother to report the trampling of rights, especially where Muslim Americans are concerned, and we can also spread some of the credit to the pundits, especially the Israel First opinion makers and framers, who have done much to make anti-Muslim bigotry acceptable in this country. To be a Muslim in America is to have the same status as blacks in the American South in the 1940s and 1950s. Blacks were lynched then, today it's Muslims. One Muslim American who languishes in jail is Sami Al-Aryan, a computer science professor who resided in Florida. Accused by the government of supporting the Palestinian Islamic Jihad, he was acquitted in the year 2005 of the most serious charges against him. The jury simply could find no evidence on which to convict him. Nevertheless, almost 3 years later, he still languishes in jail, for most of the time in solitary confinement. The judge in the case made such prejudicial public statements that he should have been immediately disqualified, but of course he was not. The government cut a deal with El-Arian and then reneged on it, apparently in an attempt to get him to perjure himself. He remains in jail, an innocent man denied release by a vindictive judge and prosecutor. We must demand the reversal of the laws that permit Sami El-Arian and many more like him to be hounded by the government with no end in sight. Frankly, Senator Obama's vote for FISA is not encouraging. It is regrettable that Senator Obama chose to affirm Israel's, quote, right, unquote, to Jerusalem, an affirmation that puts him at odds with virtually the entire international community. It is unclear what he hopes to achieve by provoking more than 1 billion Muslims and 2 billion Christians across the planet, the vast majority of whom do not approve that a city sacred to the 3 great monotheistic religions of the world should be under Israel's absolute control. One of the shocking things about this endorsement of Israeli lawlessness is that for a moment, he sounded just like any other white colonialist, disposing of the countries and lives of others with careless abandon. We must remind Senator Obama that Jerusalem is not his to give away. Many of us have been troubled by remarks made by Senator Obama about smart wars and dumb wars. The distinction seems to be in the speed with which victory is achieved, not the grounds on which war is waged. It is disturbing that issues of war and peace should be assessed by such a utilitarian yardstick, as though the only question that matters is how long it will take us to bring a foreign country to its knees. Many of us are appalled by the demonstrated inclination of presidential candidates to wage war against third world people around the world who have never attacked us and who lack the ability to defend themselves. I'm referring here to comments that all candidates have made about Iran and to comments about Senator Obama made about Pakistan. We pauperized the Iraqi people during the 10 years of sanctions that preceded the ground invasion. We have ruined Iraq and Iraqis because we could, because they have oil we want access to on our terms, and because Israel and its supporters in government and in the media built the case for war because they thought it would be helpful to Israel to destroy the largest Arab country with the most potential and the least inclination to accept Israeli hegemony in the Middle East. This is another little detail that we aren't supposed to talk about, but which we must. The extent to which Israel's diehard supporters built the case for the U.S. illegal invasion and occupation of Iraq. It is regrettable and cause for alarm that a candidate who claims to be about change and ending the war would choose as his running mate an establishment senator who voted in favor of this illegal and immoral war. This is the same Biden who would like to split Iraq into 3 segments. Another American politician who thinks that other people's countries are his to dispose of like a feudal landlord. Future generations, learning about our sustained assault on Iraq for the past 18 years, will be incredulous that we could have been so casually destructive of a people and a country that gave birth to civilization. These are some of the urgent issues concerning troubled spots in the world and our role in exacerbating or resolving them that have not been addressed by Senator Obama. So we have to make sure that we keep raising them. We have our work cut out for us. Thank you very much.
So like I said, I'm addressing more and more questions in between speakers here. So I've been asked if I love this country. So to address that, I love the country I know is occupied North America. What I don't love is the United States government and what they've done to my Native brothers and sisters' land and to their culture and the way they've raped this country and what the possibilities could have been here. So I love the country that I'm standing on. I don't love the government that's ruling it. Let's be clear on that. The other question I was just asked too is whether or not I support the troops. So I just want to be clear on this. We support the troops that go AWOL. Taking it even a step further, the troops that should get the Medal of Honor are the ones that think maybe I should turn my guns and point them in the right direction. Talking about pointing you in the right direction, I'd like to bring out Larry Hales, and maybe he can help us focus on the direction we should be going in.
It's hard to find different words to say the same thing. As a matter of fact, we'd almost have to invent a whole new different language to talk about the same old rotten imperialism. When we talk about one of the things that we've been baited on since we started Recreate 68, and I'm a member of Recreate 68 and Fight Imperialism Stand Together, is the fact that we have our nonviolence statement mentions the fact that we support the right of self-defense of oppressed communities. And people had a problem with that. People had a problem with that. And the question is, to me, is what do people do when violence is perpetrated against them? Even Martin Luther King Jr. said himself that in the face of a great evil, he would abandon his pacifist principles to fight and destroy that great evil. We have that right to defend ourselves. It doesn't mean that we have to pick up guns or bricks or rocks and knives. It means that whatever we have at our disposal, when somebody wages war against us, we have the right to say, no, we are not going to sit there and let you kill us. We do not just sit down and die. We stand up. That is what we are doing today. We are standing up. We are not violent people. Nobody is being violent out here in the crowd today. But this is a form of fighting back. And when we fight back, we have to say that this is bigger. This is bigger than just the war thousands of miles away. The war in Iraq is an extension of the war against the Palestinian people. The war in Iraq is an extension against the threats made against Venezuela and Cuba and North Korea. It's an extension of the war against the African people and people of Latin America, and it is an extension of the war in the oppressed communities, in the barrios, in the ghettos, in the reservations and the pueblos that happens every day. And so when we stand up and we fight back, we have to say, first and foremost, if you are white, and I'm not knocking white people, but if you are white, the greatest thing that you can do is show solidarity. And showing solidarity is not telling people, no, don't do it this way. It is not telling the Iraqi people, no, you shouldn't fight that way. It's ugly. No, it's saying, we understand that bombs are ugly. We understand that the sanctions for 12 years, that's ugly. However you determine that you have to fight back, damn it, we support you. And we will stand in solidarity with you. It is not to say to black people that when the cops come to your door and break down your door, you don't have a right to fight back. Damn it, it's to say we understand. Because it's been 400 or 500 years of oppression of dark people in this part of the world. And people have had enough. And don't be discouraged by the fact that I don't know how many people are here today, but I expect the crowds to grow. We've always said we expect tens and thousands of people. But if you look at what's happening today in this country, millions of people being kicked out of their homes, being foreclosed on, most of them people of color, most of them preyed upon by predatory lenders, most of them giving rates to buy their home at 2%. After 3 years, it jumps up 2, 3, 4, 5 times that original loan payment that they were paying. You have, in this year alone, almost 1 million jobs that have been lost. You have civil liberties over the past 8 years that have been taken away from people. They have, at the Pepsi Center, we'll see it today, they have I don't know what you want to call it, a cage that they expect us to walk into and protest.
Like animals.
This is what they say democracy is. It's a sham. Let me tell you something. Just because you change your face every 4 years don't mean you got democracy. Just because you change a damn face, but nothing ever really changes, that's not democracy. That's a sham. And the only way we can put an end to that, is to tear the system down. We turned the world upside down. We are here today because we believe in a topsy-turvy world. A topsy-turvy world. A world where you have the bottom layers who are in control of society. That is what we are for. That is what we have to build. And the greatest way that we can build that, is that wherever there is oppression, we be there. When people are being kicked out of their homes by some damn pigs. Pigs! Somebody told me they don't like when I say pigs. Fuck that. Pig! I call it like it is. If you in a blue uniform with a gun, you a damn pig. And I ain't got to call you anything else other than a pig. Right? Right? Am I right? Anybody disagree with that? I know the cops that are dressed like protesters, they disagree. Y'all ain't got to say nothing. Y'all ain't got to say nothing. It don't matter. We all, most of us understand that here. So I'm glad that we have as many people out here today, but before I go, I want everybody to put their fists in the air. Even the cops in protest outfits, put your fists in the air. And if you a camera person, put your fists in the air and say all power to the people. All power to the people. All power to the people. Right on. Thank y'all.
Thank you, buddy. Our website's pineman.org.
Sorry about that. We're working on some things with Mr. Kovac over here. He had a long ordeal getting here today. Due to all the injuries and everything sustained over the years from fighting in illegal wars, his health is suffering a little bit. So if you could just be patient with us on that. But let's address a few more of these beautiful media questions we keep getting. Once again, you've all been accused of being at the wrong convention. I don't know if you know that or not. So basically we're saying to the critics that they're in the wrong state of mind if that's what they're thinking. Because we're going to pierce the false reality that these Democrats are putting in front of us. Because this isn't a Republican war that's going on right now. This is an American war. A war that couldn't be carried out without the complicity of the Democratic Party. Let's be clear. Barack Obama is not an anti-war candidate. Barack Obama talks about not bringing our troops home. He talks about redeploying them to fight the right war. He wants to put them in Afghanistan and on the northern border of Iraq. We said that's bullshit, man. We want to bring the troops home now. We're against imperial ventures. Since Barack Obama's been in Congress, this man has voted for over $400 billion to go to this war to keep killing citizens in Iraq. That's an anti-war candidate? A man who went and campaigned for Joel Lieberman and said that he is his mentor on foreign policy, instead of campaigning for Ned Lamont, an anti-war candidate. And we're going to call Barack Obama our anti-war candidate. Please, people, let's be realistic. Who's being naive now? The Democrats could have stopped this war anytime they wanted to. So, okay. All right, enough here on my nonsense. Let's hear some people who really have something to say. We'd like to bring Mr. Kovac, Ron Kovac, out here from Born on the 4th of July fame. Have him say a few words.
It's great to see all of you this morning. Thank you for coming. Martin Luther King said once, many years ago on April 4th, 1967, it was a year to the day before he was to be assassinated at the Lorraine Motel in Memphis. Dr. King said among many things that day, in that Riverside speech in New York, that a time comes when silence is betrayal. Dr. King said a time comes when silence is betrayal, and we know now that we must not be silent in this country anymore. Today we are going to march together. The whole country is going to be watching us, and the whole world is going to be watching, isn't it? The whole world is watching. The whole world is watching all of you. And we will march with dignity and discipline today. We will march peacefully today and nonviolently in the spirit of Dr. King and the spirit of Nelson Mandela. And we will let the world know that you represent the conscience of America. You represent the very best of this country that we love. You represent the moral high ground. You are the morality of this country, the moral high ground of this country. You are the very best of this country. You represent the dream of a better America, a more beautiful America, a more compassionate America, a more caring America, an America without these senseless wars. The same wars, the same foreign policy, my brothers and sisters. The same foreign policy that put me in a wheelchair. For the rest of my life I've been in this chair because of the Vietnam War. This is my 40th year in this chair. And I'll be damned if I'll see young men have to come home from more Vietnams ever again. We're not going to let this happen anymore. Not only are we going to stop this war, my brothers and sisters, my fellow citizens of this country that we love, not only are we going to stop this war, but our civil rights, our civil liberties are under attack these days. There is a government in Washington, D.C. There's an administration that thinks they can silence us, they can put us in cages. I gave 3/4 of my body in Vietnam, and I'm not going to be put in a cage in silence ever again. I was told when I sacrificed 3/4 of my body in Vietnam that supposedly I sacrificed it, they told me, for freedom. I ask you today, where is that freedom? When I have to go inside of a cage to dissent, to question authority, is that the freedom that I sacrificed my body for? We are going to, in the next couple of days, we are going to find that freedom We are going to allow the American people to know that we are not going to be silenced. That's what being an American is all about. We refuse to be silenced. They will not cage us. We will not go silently into this dark American night. They will not stop us from freely assembling in this country. They will not stop me or any of you from speaking. We are going to speak our minds. We will not bow. We will not scrape. We will speak proudly. We will walk strongly. I love you. Keep marching. Keep demonstrating. Stop this war and make this a beautiful country someday. Thank you so much. The whole world's watching. The whole world's watching. The whole world's watching. Louder. The whole world's watching. The whole world's watching. The whole world's watching. The whole world's watching. Let them hear you. The whole world's watching. The whole world's watching. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Somebody hold us. Can I borrow somebody here?
Hold on, I got it. Devin, you want her?
Just hold it for a minute. I gotta catch up.
All right, everybody, let's just relax. This is what happens when you let the Pentagon war machine come here.
Fox News, go home! Fox News, go home! Fox News, go home! Fox News, go home! Fox News, stop the corporate media!
All right. Let's not let these propaganda machines over here ruin what we're doing. So, the hell with Fox News, all the other media bullshit. We're not here for their entertainment. We're here to stop a fucking war. Troops home now. Let's start. Bring them home now. 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 Unfortunately, all the media hounds over there that are trying to find some kind of controversy or conflict to paint us as violent, when they ignore the violence of the state, when they ignore the fact that we're killing people every day, they're going to ask me about a broken fucking window or something. And meanwhile, people are dying every day, but they're concerned about a $100 pane of window that might get broken this week. Let you know where their mindset really is. So I want to bring out, as a hero of mine, a hero to a lot of people, somebody who's been in this struggle for a long time. I'd like to bring out Miss Kathleen Cleaver from the Black Panther Party.
Oh, my bad. Hey, let me go.
Power to the people! Power to the people! Power to the people! I want to talk about the war that's in the United States. Because our government, or the government, not ours, the government is engaged in so much violence on international level in their illegal war in Iraq, that violence blows back to us. Particularly harsh in poor communities, black communities, Chicano communities, communities that don't have a lot of resources to defend themselves. What we get is the militarized police and the mobilized developers who combine in terms of tearing up neighborhoods, tearing up homes, tearing up projects, tearing up streets.
combining with the practices of massive, extraordinary levels of imprisonment, disinvestment, disemployment, and all this is followed by gentrification. And so these neighborhoods on which the war is most harsh become preserves for people far more affluent than those that are driven out. It's a variation on the theme in every urban center that you can talk about as you see gentrification of neighborhoods that were formerly poor communities.
I'll figure it out.
Because the war, the way the government takes the people's resources, tax resources and other investments, they deploy the resources outside to profit their corporations and make sure they are not available. They're not available for the education, for the health, for the anything resembling quality of life for people in the community. So the level of militarization and disinvestment that we're subjected to here amounts to a war against the people. And that's the war we should be opposed to. They're taking bodies out of poor communities to use as cannon fodder in a foreign land where they not belong. When I was originally joining the Black Panther Party in the 1960s, we said that our communities were occupied by the police, that the police were an occupying outside army. So when we talk about war and occupation, the occupation that we should be opposed to, or at least recognize, is the occupation by the militarized police in neighborhoods in which the people are not treated as citizens, but more or less as movable property. Not of our choosing. Massive demonstrations all around the world tried to stop the war, and they invaded anyway in March of 2004. The war is destroying our hopes, it's destroying dreams, and it's destroying the possibilities for a generation. And as you see, the silence about the war is deafening.
That's right.
As if it's inevitable, as if people can't stop it. Well, it can be stopped. So this war is a war that's putting the United States right back into the fold of imperialist aggressors. Now, there are many of you out there who remember when we said stop the imperialist aggression in Vietnam, stop the imperialist aggression in Cambodia. Well, they've come back. They've come back with the same old jackbooted invasion that we thought was a product of another century. Under the guise, they have a new guise, and that's the guise of fighting what they call a war on terror. Now, I'm part of a community that for generations had been subjected to all types of terrorism. Open terrorism, covert terrorism, Ku Klux Klan terrorism, police terrorism. It's very, very peculiar to me to hear the United States government saying they're engaged in a war on terror. A war on terror, I'm sorry, but terrorism has been their modus operandi in the communities that I'm a part of. The terrorism in Mississippi, they had no way of doing it. So I want to know what this terror they're making a war on actually is. Because as Martin Luther King pointed out in 1967, when he said it was time to break the silence, he said the United States government has become the greatest purveyor of violence in the world.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
And that he could no longer counsel young men to be nonviolent in the face of their government. So here we are, many, many years later, 2008. We live in a country that's administered by war criminals.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Those people who are in the White House and the Vice President's office and then the cabinet, etc., and some of them in the Pentagon, and some of them are no longer in office, could be, in a just world, charged and convicted of war crimes.
Yeah!
Even if they haven't been charged, they did it. We've seen them. We've seen them violate the sovereignty of independent countries that they have no business violating. We see them violating the sovereignty of independent communities that they have no business violating. We see an occupation of the space that should be for the people. And unfortunately, it doesn't seem that the party, Democrat, what do you call them, Republican, Democrats, whoever, that the parties of the powerful are not doing anything to stop, to challenge, or to end this war. So that means it's on the oppressed people, the alienated people, the people of the world to join together in solidarity, put an end to the war, end to the occupation, empower ourselves, change this country for once again. Power to the people. Power to the people.
One crazy guy, and this is one of my heroes speaking.
Right on. Yeah.
All right. We'd like to bring out another speaker. It's a good friend of ours. He's one of the heads of the Troops Out Now Coalition. Traveled all the way from New York to be here. I'll let you know that, like I said, it's just as important to be here in Denver to hold these corporate whores that are inside that Pepsi Center accountable for their actions as it is to be in Minneapolis. So I'd like to bring out Larry Holmes right now from Troops Out Now Coalition.
Sisters and brothers, we should congratulate Recreate 68 again.
Congratulations, Glenn.
When they decided to call themselves Recreate 68, they didn't have in their imagination that they would recreate the events of Chicago 68. But they did have in their mind the necessity to recreate the spirit of struggle.
Yes.
The spirit of militancy.
Yes.
Yes. And because they dared to do that, everybody tried to shut them down.
That's right.
The police tried to shut them down. We're not going to give you any permits. The media violence baited them. Democratic Party hacks. Even people who you think are progressive, oh no, we've got to isolate them, we've got to marginalize them. But here they are today. And the fact that we're here today at this huge rally against occupation is our first big victory of the week.
Yes.
I believe that Recreate 68 and what they wanted to accomplish will be vindicated.
Yes. Yes.
Why do we need to recreate a struggle? It's almost 3 years. Next week, 3 years since Katrina genocide.
Yes.
There's still no justice for the survivors of Katrina. Somebody better recreate some struggle. We've got 2 wars going on, and maybe another one against Iran soon.
Soon.
We got a new political prisoner. Some of you may know about it. A soldier by the name of Robin Long.
I lost your cell phone number.
Extradited from Canada.
Okay.
Court-martialed just a few days ago. Given almost 2 years with a dishonorable discharge. He's a political prisoner. He's our anti-war hero.
388-7428.
With things like this happening, somebody better recreate some struggle.
That's right.
Our immigrant sisters and brothers are being rounded up by the thousands, dragged out like slaves, dragged out of plants and factories, out of their home,
Yes.
thrown in prison. Some of them are dying in prison for lack of medical attention,
Yes.
deported. Some of them are being beaten to death, lynched.
That's right. That's right.
Somebody better recreate some struggle.
Yes.
Somebody better recreate some militancy, some unity.
Yes.
We've got a capitalist economy that's going down so bad that it's probably never been worse since the Great Depression. People are losing their homes.
Yes.
They're losing their jobs. Students are losing their student loans. After the election, the whole country's going to get hit by billions and billions of dollars of budget cuts. Whatever's left of health care, whatever's left of education, of a social security net, that's going. Somebody better recreate some struggle.
That's right.
You know, I'm supporting Cynthia McKinney, the president. She's here. I support her because she's a warrior for justice and truth. We're getting on as many states as possible. But I also support her because it's not just about what's before the election. It's about what comes after the election. All these things that we're talking about. Endless war. Attack on the workers. Attack on immigrants. Racism against people of color. Prison industrial complex. They're going to intensify. And sisters and brothers, let's consider it seriously. It's going to be up to you, no one else, to help recreate a struggle that is not only pushed forward in the spirit of militancy and defiance, which is how all struggles who've won anything have won. Let us make sure that there's no dichotomy between the struggle against the war abroad and the struggle against the war at home. Let us make sure that we feel comfortable talking about workers' rights, even when we're talking about get out of Iraq and Afghanistan. Let us make sure that when we're talking about bringing the troops home, we're talking about getting racist cops out of communities of color. If you do this, there's a chance, if we're serious and united, that we're going to make great gains for progressive and revolutionary struggle, not only in this country, but around the world. Power to the people!
All right. Best thing we could do to this naysayer, spirit sniper, power killer that's over here is ignore him. So I'm asking all my brothers and sisters who are on the side of the stage, ignore them. Move back to the middle, man. Right. Come back and join us. Listen to the speakers that we got. Don't listen to these type of people. So come back over here and let's have this rally keep going. A lot's been made about Mr. Obama giving his speech on a historic moment at the same 40-year anniversary as one of Martin Luther King's famous speeches. And I think sometimes that poor man's history and legacy has been manipulated for the public. So what I want to do is that I feel that all of you had a lot of courage to be here. And last night I was trying to think about what we were going to say today to you all, and I came across a quote in a book from Martin Luther King, who said that cowardice asked the question, is it safe?
Yes.
Expediency asked the question, is it politically strategic? Vanity asked the question, is it popular?
Yes.
But conscience asked the question, is it right?
Yes.
And there comes a time when one must take a position that's neither safe or not politically strategic or not popular, but they must do it because conscience tells them that it's right. And that's what we're doing today. We march later today. Remember the people who came before us and paved that road that we're going to be marching down. Because today, I marched for Tecumseh. I marched for Crazy Horse. I marched for John Brown. I marched for the Barragan brothers and all the Vietnam vets who decided to leave and go to Canada. I marched for Jerry and Abby. I marched for all the soldiers who said no, all the resistors. I marched for the Iraqi people today. Today with people that I consider the true rock stars of this country, the true heroes of this country, not these people that are put on TV in front of you to try to make you forget about what's going on in this country. These are the people that we should be considering heroes. I'd like to bring out the man, the myth, the legend, Fred Hampton Jr.
Right on. Power to the people.
Power to the people!
Let's try this again. Power to the people.
Power to the people!
Just, I thought I was gonna speak a little later. They just told me last minute I'll be coming up now. But ain't no thing, I think I'll get out best. I get out best under pressure. I say I was born under pressure. I'm Chairman Fred Hampton Jr., the son of Deputy Chairman Fred Hampton, and also recording chairman. Cool. Real brief. My father, Chairman Fred, was along with his comrade, Defense Captain Mark Clark, with two of the countless victims of American terrorism. They were assassinated December 4th, 1969 by the federal government via the Chicago Police Department. And when we, okay, cool. Thanks. I say, I'm the son of Chairman Fred Hampton, who was Illinois chapter chairman of the Black Panther Party. He, along with his comrade, Deputy Defense Captain Mark Clark, were two of the countless victims of United States terrorism. They were assassinated December 4th in what we define as the massacre on Monroe. I know there's a lot of speakers up here today, and when I say the word terrorism, I know a lot of people automatically connect to dates like September 11, New York. However, I come to you, I speak from what we refer to as one of the OVs of terrorism. Against the OVs, the original victims of terrorism, people who have been terrorized under such euphemisms as slavery, Jim Crow, sharecropping, gentrification. In fact, we even say that police brutality is a euphemism. Because the reality is every day in the community that I come from and represent, every day is September 11. And the reality is that when those flashing blue lights come from behind us, whether we some cat in college or we some cat in some street organization, all of us feel that same sentiment of terror from the top of our head to the tip of our toes. I'm still based in Chicago. A lot of people say, what's the difference? What happened in 1968? What happened to your father, the attacks of the Black Power movement? A lot of people try to say that was some sort of nostalgic type thing, and they just attempt to view it in an abstract type of way. No. We must make concrete connections. As the old saying goes, only the names have changed. However, in Chicago, even the names have not changed. In 1968, you had the infamous gangster, Mayor Richard Daley, at the helm of Chicago. Right now, today in 2008, George Bush refers to Daley Jr. as the most powerful mayor in the country. This Chicago is a city in which the United Nations is deemed as the torture capital of the country. No amount of black officials, white officials, in fact, Obama, none of these people have spoke to the terrorism that goes down right inside Chicago. None of them. We call for some concrete commitments. When I say we, I'm talking the POCC, the Prisons of Conscience Committee. We call on all freedom-loving forces to be consistent in your definition of terrorism. Be consistent with your calls to end the wars, and we unite with the calling for the stopping of the wars in Iraq, Afghanistan, and everywhere else. However, that does not negate the occupying armies that go down in Chicago, Detroit, Cincinnati. When I say occupying, I'm talking about the police department. We must make the connection. We must not just address what we call safe subjects or Oprah Winfrey type of subjects. In other words, we just can't talk about, in other words, we must make the connection from when it's going down in Abu Ghraib and Baghdad, make the connection to the conditions that the Mumia Abu Jamal, the Sunday Island callers, what they going through on a day-to-day basis. That's right. Make the connection for the forced medicating of prisoners abroad. Make the connection to Pontiac, Illinois. Pontiac, Illinois have prisoners right now today. I ain't talking about the 60s, right now today. In Pontiac, Illinois, how prisoners are forced to go on visits with black net mask over their face and rubber grill over the mouthpiece and chained and shackled down to the floor. We deem that as an act of terrorism. Make the connection. Time women are being mistreated across seas to the conditions that 17-year-old girls in Cook County Jail, which is in Chicago, 17-year-old girls who are forced to rinse out their sanitary napkins for reuse right now today. These are acts of terrorism. So we say, let us seize the time. The momentum is high. We see the people's conscious level, there are revolutionary leaps being made, leaps and bounds. People are being very clear on how they view America. That's why this is a strategic move that the United States government want to put a face like Obama out there to give another image that everything is cool in America.
But we know the real deal what's going on. So being the fact that people are becoming more and more clear what's happening all over the world, let us be very correct in our position. And again, make the connection with what's going down to the terrorism that's going on a day-to-day basis right in the colonized communities of the United States of America. Make the connection that one of the prison guards, one of the pigs that was exposed in Abu Ghraib, Grainer, was one of the same pigs that was operating in SCI Green when Mumia Abu Jamal has been held captive at. This ain't no new thing about how they go on abroad violating people's rights. This has been the day-to-day thing in America. As Malcolm X stated, America's democracy is an hypocrisy. Let's pull the covers off this beast. Let's expose these contradictions and move the people to organize. Right on. Power to the people. Keep your heads up, your eyes on the fist place. Power to the people.